Dolphins fans, welcome in to Dolphins Today. I am Will Scott, and on today's show, we're exploring the possibility of extensions for Dolphins defensive linemen Christian Wilkins and Zach Sieler. Going to talk about what possible extensions for those two guys might look like. Christian Wilkins, of course, had his fifth-year option picked up last year, but he's set to be a free agent in 2024. So is Zach Sieler. But first, I want to tell you all about this because we're almost at 40,000 subscribers. When we get there, we are going to auction off a Dolphins jersey. It looks like the vote is in, and it's going to be a Xavier Howard jersey, a signed Xavier Howard jersey that we're going to auction off here on Dolphins Day when we hit 40,000 subscribers. So subscribe to the channel. Also, tell your friends about our channel. You can share the video below on Twitter, on Facebook, via text, on Instagram, Snapchat, whatever you want to do. But tell more people about our channel. If you have a Dolphins friend, Dolphins fans that are family members or coworkers, whatever, tell them about our channel because we need to get to 40,000 subscribers before we do that jersey auction. Let's talk about Christian Wilkins first here, and then we'll hit on Zach Sieler. But Christian Wilkins is certainly a prime extension candidate on the Miami Dolphins after a spectacular season in 2022. Nearly 100 tackles, which is unheard of for an interior defensive lineman. 16 tackles for loss, 7 QB hits, 3.5 sacks for the former first-round pick out of Clemson. He's a guy we've talked about extending a lot, even last year before his fifth-year option got picked up. We were talking about extending him, and ESPN lists him as one of the top 10 extension candidates in the NFL. Here's what Bill Barnell said on ESPN.com. I'm not sure there's really a player quite like Wilkins. Most tackles leave a modest statistical output against the run. Wilkins is a glaring exception. The 2019 first-round pick finished the season with 98 tackles, which does not happen in the modern game. He also said this: no other interior lineman has topped 90 tackles in a season since 1996. It's crazy that Wilk was not all-pro. Wilkins is already penciled in for a $10.8 million fifth-year option in 2023. But it would be no surprise if the Dolphins gave him a long-term extension this offseason. So Bill Barnell saying that the numbers that Christian Wilkins put up unheard of, which is just a fact. He should have been an all-pro, too. That's a fact. Ridiculous that he was not a Pro Bowler. Ridiculous he was not an all-pro team member. But he should get extended, and the Dolphins should lock this guy up long-term. Not only is he great on the field, he's great off the field, great locker room presence. Players love him, coaches love him, fans love him. Pay the man. Now, should Miami extend Christian Wilkins? Type E for extend or type D for don't down in the comment section. It is the pinned comment on today's video. So when you get hit with an ad break here in a few seconds, go down and chime in while the ad break plays. Type E for extend or type D for don't down in the comment section. Daniel Oyefusi tweeted this: Spotrac protects Christian Wilkins could receive a deal that averages $11 million per year. It would be a well-deserved extension and could be one of the many moves to free cap space this offseason. Position review on the Dolphins' offensive line. So he wrote more about that in a column for the Miami Herald, but I kind of agree with Daniel Oyefusi that it could be around $50 million per year. But if I'm his agent, I'm trying to get him a little bit more than that. So here's my extension projection for Christian Wilkins. 4 years, $70 million total, $17.5 million per year, average per year, and then $42 million guaranteed. This would make Wilk the 6th highest paid interior defensive lineman in all the NFL. And I do believe that he deserves that money that you see on screen. And I think that he's going to want something north of $15 million per year because when you're looking at the top 10 highest paid interior defensive linemen, they're all making a little bit north of $15 million per year. Probably somewhere in the $15 to $18 million range for Wilk. My projection is closer to $18 million. I think he is going to get something around there. Now let's talk about Zach Sieler, another extension candidate here on the Miami Dolphins. He is a free agent after next season. I think you should lock this guy up as well. He is another valuable member of this defensive line. Now, Drew Rosenhaus' agent, his new agent, he just signed with Drew a few months ago. Of course, Drew represents Tyreek and some other Dolphins, and he's very well known in the Miami area and around the NFL. Drew said this in an interview on sports radio in Miami the other day. That'll be a project that will be working very hard on this offseason. It'd be important, I think, to the organization, obviously to Zach, that we get his contract in line with his pay. Drew Rosenhaus saying that about a possible Sieler extension. Sieler coming off one of the better seasons of his career, if not the best. 70 tackles, 4 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 4 pass breakups for Sieler this past season, played all 17 regular season games. It's silly how underrated this guy is. We were talking earlier about a possible extension in the Chat Sports office, talking about what that might look like, and there was one guy that really knows ball here in the Chat Sports office. I'm not going to call him out, but he's like, I don't know who Zach Sieler is. It's crazy. Like, outside of Miami, nobody really knows who Zach Sieler is, and he is one of the better defensive linemen in the AFC and in the division. It's crazy. He played 77% of defensive snaps this season. Career high, 70 tackles, 3.5 sacks, had a 74.7 PFF grade, and a $3.2 million salary is what he's going to be making this season, which is an absolute steal. So you saw my projection for Wilkins a little bit earlier. Willie Agent going back to it, and I'm going to put a extension projection together here for Sieler. Here's what that looks like. 3 years, $22.8 total million for an average annual value of $7.6 million, $13.5 million fully guaranteed. I think that's in the range for Zach Sieler there, which is a steal. You should do that. Pick one to extend. Christian Wilkins or Zach Sieler. Type 94 for Wilk or 92 for Sieler. If you could just extend one of these guys this offseason, who would it be? 94 for Wilk or 92 for Sieler? Taking a look at this defensive line, those two guys were both phenomenal for the Dolphins this year. Raekwon, he showed a lot of promise this year, kind of in the middle of that defensive line. A couple of free agents on this defensive line, and John Jenkins and Trey Flowers. Of course, you see Emmanuel Ogbah there as well. Jacob Meschel tweeted this out. And Drew Rosenhaus also represents Emmanuel Ogbah. Drew Rosenhaus on whether he expects Dolphins Emmanuel Ogbah to be back with Miami next season. And, of course, he's under contract the next 3 years. But I do expect him to be back. In my conversation with the Dolphins, they've made it clear how much they like him. So his agent, Ogbah's agent, Drew Rosenhaus, saying that he expects Ogbah back in Miami, who missed 8 games last year after tearing his triceps, one of the many injuries that we have seen this offseason. Excuse me. He signed a 4-year, $65.4 million contract with the Dolphins last spring. Was not playing great, unfortunately, after signing that contract, but neither was X. Neither was Bradley Chubb. I feel like it was more of a Boyer problem, to be honest. I mean, you had several stars in the Dolphins that were very productive under Brian Flores, that just didn't have the same production this year without Brian Flores, and with Josh Boyer as the defensive play caller instead. So, and again, Brian Flores took over defensive play calling responsibilities from Boyer middle of last year when the Dolphins went on that big win streak at the end of the season. But I think Ogbah still has all the potential in the world. I still think he can get back to what he was, but the injury is a little bit of a concern, the torn triceps. He did miss 8 games. He is expected to be fully healthy by training camp, and I would like to keep Ogbah around. Now, if you can trade him, get rid of that contract, that would save you a lot of money. But I don't really think that contract after the season that he just had is tradable. But we'll ultimately see what happens. You would have a lot of dead money if you cut him. Do you want Ogbah back next year? Y for yes, in for no. Down in the comment section, go down, let me know. Do you want Emmanuel Ogbah back next year? Y for yes, in for no, down in the comment section. Also, you want me to say it right now? So breaking news: Bobby Wagner just got cut. Wow. Adam Schefter, and we're filming this Thursday during Dolphins Live, this video. But Bobby Wagner just got cut. So that is a name to watch. He's been linked to Miami before, so keep an eye on Bobby Wagner. I'm pulling up this tweet from Adam Schefter. This is the great thing about being live, is that we're learning this as we're live right now on Dolphins Live. Adam Schefter tweeting: the Rams and 9-time All-Pro linebacker Bobby Wagner mutually agreed Thursday to part ways. Source tells ESPN. Rams need more cap space, and Wagner wants to win. He will now be a notable part of this year's free agent class. So Bobby Wagner, All-Pro linebacker, could he be coming to Miami you got to know he's going to be linked to Miami. And if he does get signed, we'll certainly have you covered. So be sure to subscribe to the channel.